Greetings and salutations of peace. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Mastery Blaster Jamming. I am your brother, Ayman I, for the Underground News Network. 4/22/2003, McIntosh County, Georgia. Approximately 2 p.m., Editor-in-Chief and Executive Editor of the Underground News Network, Ayman I, and Dauru I left American Beach, Florida in the capacity of journalist to cover the April 24, 2003 court appearance and trial of accused Beltway sniper John Allen Muhammad. About 45 minutes to an hour into their journey via I-95 North, suddenly impelled ahead of speeding 4-lane traffic, spotted a squad car from the McIntosh County Sheriff's Department, slowed down, noticed the sheriff car move, realizing he could not go out into traffic from the opposite side of I-95 South. The police now from the rear moves his way onto 95 North, seeking the 1998 Ford 250 white pickup of the two journalists. At that time, we were being pursued by McIntosh County police. Stopped us on I-95, took us down to the station. After about an hour, we thought that they told us that they stopped us because of the tag being loose. We got there, they discovered we had some herbs, medicinal herbs and cannabis mixed, and we thought we were being incarcerated for this. Later, we found that the FBI had been summoned from Savannah, Georgia and Washington, D.C. While searching our truck while on 95, they found this book called Word is Bond. When we first heard of the D.C. sniper, I started writing because I noticed there was bias in the media, and I start following the numbers, and I noticed that there was a spiritual significance about the Beltway sniper, and I recorded it in this book called Word is Bond. I would like to inform you before we get to a tape here, if we have time. This discourse is going to take some time because I have a lot to discuss, because on the 10th, John Allen Muhammad will be executed by the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'm starting a 10-day fast. He will be executed on the 10th. As of today, I am fasting for John Allen Muhammad, and before I finish this discourse, you will know why. But please note, before I get to this tape I want you to hear, please note that it was not proven that John Allen Muhammad abused his wife, nor was it proven by the Commonwealth of Virginia that John Allen Muhammad is guilty of the murders in the Beltway. I was there and covered the trial in 2003 for over 40 days while stationed at Newport News, Virginia as a independent journalist. I was the only independent journalist, UNN 13 was, and we were the only black journalists to cover that trial. Okay, Tom Joyner morning show named Mildred Muhammad, his ex-wife, as Tide Thursday Morning's mom. I want you to hear what an interview from the Tom Joyner show, and this is one reason why I am an advocate of saving the life of John Allen Muhammad. I want to know why the government is so bent on executing John Allen Muhammad, and we'll get into it later, but I want you to hear the buffoonery of his wife Mildred, and we're going to get into a lot of things here, but just listen at this, and when you hear this and think about it, then you'll understand what I'm going to say after this. But please check this.
Every Thursday is Mother's Day, and we celebrate with the Thursday morning mom. Mothers make the world go round. Jesus be tied because there's no clean like Tide Clean. All right. This isn't a letter, but rather the result of an interview that we had on Tuesday. And I announced after the interview that I was going to make her Thursday morning mom, right, and donate the $1,000 to her organization called After the Trauma Inc. And I'm talking about Miss Mildred Muhammad. Miss Muhammad is the ex-wife of the D.C. sniper who's set to go to the electric chair in the next few weeks, right, sir?
Yeah, November.
Mildred Muhammad suffered through a lot while married to John Allen Muhammad. Her children were kidnapped, and other tragic events that happened after their divorce led up to the 23 days in October of 2002 when terror, fear, and murder gripped the D.C. area. 10 innocent people were gunned down that month. No one knew why, and nobody knew who would be next. It was later discovered that Mildred Muhammad, his wife, was the target all along. And even though her ex-husband was caught, convicted, and is awaiting execution, she found it hard to escape her past. John's name still showed up on her credit report, and his debt and infamous legacy put a financial strain on her and the family. But here's what got her through those tough times.
If it wasn't for their show early in the mornings from 6 to 10 during that time during the trial, I would not have been able to have a smile on my face for my children. I remember Jay saying, we got a new lawyer in town, and I would just laugh. The reason for that was because John was acting as his own attorney, and he did not have legal education to represent himself. And so that particular morning, they announced that he was going to be his own attorney. And that's when Jay said, we got a new lawyer in town. That's what I needed at the time. I needed to laugh, and I needed somebody to tell me it's going to be all right. And they were the ones that made me laugh. And I purposely got up at 6 o'clock every morning to make sure I heard them, because my children needed to see strength, and they needed to see it in me.
See why I made her the Thursday morning mom? After regaining her strength, she put her own funds together and founded After the Trauma Inc. She now strives to enlighten people, letting them know that they do not have to have physical scars to be a survivor or a victim of domestic violence. She is also a public speaker about the dangers of mental abuse, and her book is called Scared Silent. It's her story depicting how domestic violence can devastate an entire family, and it's available at your favorite bookstore right now. And her organization is called After the Trauma Inc. You can check her out on afterthetrauma.org. And I made her the Thursday morning mom. So we're going to donate $1,000 to her organization, After the Trauma Inc. Yeah. Just never know who's listening and why. You never know. Yeah. So, Mildred Muhammad, you are today's Thursday morning mom. I know you're listening. Go on, play it, crack it up.
No lawyer in town.
You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming. We're actually to stay tuned. We're going to bring you information. We're going to be doing a few tapes on this. Word is bond. And it's something that I want you to see. I want you to know why I'm interested in the case of John Allen Muhammad. You will see why, what impelled me to travel from American Beach, Florida to the Commonwealth of Virginia to cover that trial. I was the only black person to cover it, the only black media, and the only independent media to cover it. We're going to find out why. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming. This is Word is Bond. There's some very pertinent information concerning John Allen Muhammad. In this, we will find out who John Muhammad was, what John Muhammad was trying to do, and I'll tell you, he did not do what he was doing because of Mildred Muhammad. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming. Peace. Stay tuned.